What's up, y'all? This is second meeting of our book club for Hyperfocus. We're going to be doing chapters 4 and 5 today. I'm going to be introducing chapter 4. More specifics about how to hyperfocus. One thing that stood out to me was the concept of clearing your environment. When you want to hyperfocus, you just have to make sure that your environment enables you to hyperfocus instead of distracts you. So any type of visual cues that could distract you, you want to eliminate that from your environment. And that includes cell phones, if you're on your computer, apps, notifications. That's one thing I've done recently. But yeah, that's I guess just one point from the chapter that stood out to me.
For me, I really liked how he began the chapter with the 40 seconds. Basically, they ran a test inside the office talking about how often the workers would switch between tasks. And apparently workers switch every 40 seconds within and 556 times during the average workday. Just switching between tasks really, like, you fail to enter a hyper-focused state because you're just switching between tasks instead of sticking your attentional space to one object. If you want to get better at that, like Anthony said, you have to eliminate those distractions ahead of time, fix your environment, turn off notifications, stuff like that, just to eliminate distractions ahead of time. And then you can enter a hyper-focused state.
Yeah, I'll mention that he talked about 4 types of distractions, interruptions that can happen. And I guess like some of them he considers like annoying or fun, but specifically it's the ones that you have no control over and the ones that you have control over. And the ones that you have no control over, like someone talking to you or, I don't know, somebody interrupting you, you simply deal with and get back on track, right? The ones that are fun, you're in the moment, you enjoy. But the ones you can't control, that's what we're talking about. You can prepare ahead of time for that. And that's where he talks about the intentional planning. He talks about how you shape your environment, whether it's your physical environment or it's the environment, like, I guess with electronics and like everything on your computer, where he talks about installing there's I'm not sure it's like data blockers, but like some kind of like blockers that prevent you from receiving certain like messages or signals or emails,
or just like the do not disturb.
Yeah, do not disturb. Yeah, things like that to take care of those things that you can't control. And then he also there's so many similarities between this book and the book that we read last month, which Atomic Habits. There's so many similarities about shaping your environment to avoid distractions and keep your mind full of clarity, and that's one of them.
Also, he talked about there's cues that distract you, and there's also cues that can motivate you. One thing that I've implemented was just having positive cues around me that I'm able to see consistently. I always have my to-do list out on my computer so I can just see it consistently. And I'm trying to have that ratio of positive cues to negative cues skewed, so it's more on the positive side.
I guess he brought up with things that we can't control, your smartphone, your cell phone, and I guess he brought up changing your mindset on how you view a device. Like, instead of seeing it as just like, it's more of a distracting computer versus a phone in your pocket. And he talked about like trying to find ways to like get it away from him, whether it's like putting it in his backpack or leaving it in a different room versus on like in your pocket. He even like referenced examples where like, if you're at a table with someone trying to have a conversation and your phone's actually on the table, I'm not sure you mentioned that there's studies that you're more likely to pick up your phone and become less engaged in the conversation just by having your phone near you. A big part of that, he talks about the phone, not picking up your phone, even doing a phone swap. I'm not sure that would work with like a significant other. Let's exchange phones. Let it be more of a distraction. Who's Tyrone? But he gave examples like that, like things that you can use.
I know to add on to that, he says that if you add more resistance to the distraction, like your phone, like if you put it 20 seconds away from you, then it creates more resistance or distance for you to actually use it or as a distraction. Like they say, put your cookies in a cabinet that's like 20 seconds away, so you won't end up going to get it. Put your phone into another room where you don't go into that room to go get it. There's just a lot of resistance for that temptation.
The part that I got from it was the meditation aspect, because I've always kind of like dismissed meditation, like, oh, I don't need to do it. Like, what's the real benefit of it? But when he said like how beneficial it was for increasing your intentional space, I thought, why not try it? If it can help me, if it could help my mind wander less, I figured it's worth a shot. So I downloaded the app, and I mean, I've only been doing it for like a couple days, like 4 or 5 days. And like, I don't know if I like see any benefits yet, but I think I'm just gonna stick with it and then see like how it works.
I was gonna tell you, man, you sound a little sharper today, dude. Like you're focused.
This guy. I mean, I did meditate this morning, but
just like Anthony mentioned, I never took it seriously. For some reason, the way that in this chapter he spoke about it captured my attention, because he said there's multiple studies and apps and programs people did to like increase their memory retention and increase their ability to focus. And none of that stuff actually worked with multiple tests. And then that's when he followed up with meditation is the one thing that did work and the one thing that was found to actually make a difference. So that got my attention, or I actually want to try it out.
Damn, I think I just caught on to Robin's joke.
Which one?
Oh, no.
This guy. I can't tell if that was a joke.
Stacking jokes on jokes? Are we gonna catch on to the joke that he didn't catch on to later on? I wanted to bring up where the whole meditation stuff. This was interesting to me because they said that, so meditation was supposed to be something to increase memory capacity, right? And that they did a study that it increased by 30%. That's a huge amount to me. I'm not sure about you guys, like a 30% increase in your memory capacity, or even to increase
that's significant.
Phase. That's significant. So I want to do more research on that, because that's a pretty big amount. And I'm curious about how the study was done, what the environment was, what the sample size was, because even with research and statistics, you got to know that it's got to be a big enough sample size to prove that. So that's where I'm like, that's interesting.
Also with like meditation, he talks about practicing like mindfulness. He talks about how no one actually is mindful of themselves, like taking a shower. I thought about that, and whenever you're in the shower, you're not really thinking about like all the sensations, like how the water and everything. You're thinking about like other things. All your thoughts are like what you did during the day or like what you're gonna do. If you're really mindful, you understand that all the sights, sounds, sensations of the present, that all adds up to like the hyperfocus and like object of attention.
You have to add on to that. So I was at work and like I was outside and like I didn't get to like meditate for that day, so I was like, fuck, I'm gonna just do it outside. And they have you focus on like the sights, the sounds, the things that are around you. And like there was like birds humming, like the wind blowing, like that shit felt like good. Like I felt like I was like in nature. I know it's kind of like it may sound kind of like hidden. I don't know what's the term, like enlightened or whatever. But I mean, it did feel good. It felt like a change of pace from just being so attached to like our devices.
Yeah. He talks about that too. Like you should disconnect from your devices, and it should reset your dopamine or whatever. I'm not too sure.
I don't think I'd like fully detach. I feel like I'd want to do it in like little steps. Like first start off with like no phone for like 30 minutes outside, and then maybe like a day, and then maybe like a weekend.
That's actually a good idea what Anthony said, to start small. Yeah. Because I think we're initially gonna feel like it's like a drug, it's like an addiction. So even 30 minutes leaving your phone, like I can imagine myself feeling some sort of like anxiety of like, what if my mom needs me or my brother texted me? And it's like starting small and becoming comfortable with that time away from your device. And then eventually you can spend more and more time that way. So I think it's actually a really good idea. He said, the research is clear. Mindfulness and meditation improve virtually every aspect of how to manage your attention. It's a pretty bold statement, yo.